worry, because we are talking about the launch of the Guam Crimestoppers effort within our island's public schools. Now, joining me now from Guam Crimestoppers are the aforementioned Sergeant Mike Uggan from GPD, and once again, DOE's Chris Anderson, who is over there on the right. Gentlemen, thank you so much for talking about this. And Sergeant Mike, you've been on the program many, many times here in our Harmon studios, but I'm really interested in finding out exactly how kids can get involved with Crimestoppers on a level that is familiar and comfortable to them. So like Facebook, Twitter, text messaging.
Everything. It's all there. You can get on Facebook. As a matter of fact, I have to open up a Facebook account just so we can get that going. Because, face it, everybody's on there. And that's another quick way. They'd rather go on and say, oh, I'm friends with Crimestoppers. I can just give them a quick message, right? Well, because people look at it and they say, oh, now I got to open up Crimestoppers and I've got to hit Crimestoppers tip. It'd be quicker to Facebook him, right? But we have more than that. We have tip box, the old-fashioned way, because some kids might want to. But you know what I want to bring out is I want to make sure that the parents understand something. When these students or their child makes a tip to Crimestoppers, once they start it, it'll never ask them any important information like their name. It'll never ask them their phone number. It doesn't have any caller ID. It'll never ask them where they live, nothing. What basically happens is after they're done giving a tip, it will come to the end and it will provide them with a username and password in case we ever have to ask them a question again, or if they wanted to provide more information, they already knew how to get back on. So just to assure parents, we will never ask them. We will never want to know who this person is. The courts will never want to know.
So private and secure.
Yes.
Outstanding. Okay, so one thing that I'm interested in now that kids are empowered to do this is, and maybe Chris can speak to this, is exactly what are the scope of responsibilities, or more appropriately, the scope of limitations about what a student can do? Because some kids might think it's like, okay, now I am a GPD officer patrolling around my school. So how are you guys like telling them, like what they can and what they can't do, and what what authorities they do go to?
Well, that's a very good question. As we go forward and start doing our training with our students, faculty, and staff, it is going to be important for us to make sure that kids understand that you're not really doing anything different. You're being a student, you're in the school grounds, you're in the playground, the cafeteria, what have you, if you're out in the community. The idea is if you recognize or witness a crime that's happening, that you shouldn't go and, of course, intervene, but you need to do the right thing, the civic thing to do, which, of course, is to report the crime. And as Officer Uggan had indicated, there's at least 4 different ways that we want students to take advantage of in order to be able to report that crime. But it's just going about your regular business and just making sure that if you see or witness criminal activity happening, to not engage with that, but to just make sure that you report the crime so it can be addressed appropriately. Now,
Sergeant Uggan, you're kind of a very friendly face in GPD, and especially with youth and everything, they're like, hey, I know Sergeant Mike, he's a really nice guy, he comes out to my school and he talks. What are you seeing as far as how the program's being embraced by students and faculty, and maybe is there any pushback right now, or is there any resistance?
You know what, everybody's excited about this. Everybody wants to get it going because, everybody's looking at it. We've got over 30,000 students. Can you imagine even if we got 10% to buy in on reporting things, we'd have over 3,000 reports coming in to Crimestoppers. And what kind of reports we get, who knows? It would be from pencil fighting, because you go to the elementary level, to as far as I saw this guy break in, or I know this guy who has stolen property, or he told me that he was fighting this night with this other guy who's in the hospital. I'm just looking at this gamut of things that we reported, and when we get it, Crimestoppers get it, I will be able to give it to the right section that will handle all these reports, and I'll be able to give back feedback back to the schools, and it's just going to make for a better community and a better place to go to school. It's like giving back your school, getting it back.
And our schools are safe places, there's no question about that. However, there are elements of criminal activity that do happen. Students bring weapons to school, students bring drugs to school, they consume drugs on campus sometimes. And so I think, I'm pretty confident that with this program in place, we're going to be able to reduce quite a bit those kinds of cases that do happen.
Now certainly our viewing audience, out there, the smartest viewing audience in Guam, there are going to be people out there that may have some experience. They may say, I'm former military, or I've served like in the federal government. I've got an experience in intelligence, or I'm a psychologist, or I'm a counselor, things like that. If they would like to get involved and maybe just help out or be a resource that you guys might be able to tap or use in speaking to students, can they get involved as well?
Yes, they can get a hold of the Crimestoppers board. Cynthia Jackson Blas, and she can coordinate all that. And you can get us, when you call the tip line, you can say, it's not a tip, I'd just like to leave a message for Sergeant Mike Uggan about giving my services, and I'd like to provide my name and number, and they'll do that for you. You know, I also want to bring up, Jason, is that a part of this Crime Stoppers, we're also bringing the pledge of the Gun and Ice, where students will go take home this pledge, and they will pledge that they will not bring a gun to school, they will not use a gun, they will not use ice, they won't take any part of that. So a part of the Crime Stoppers, we're also going to kick that in there with it as another incentive for kids to be on the right track. Mm-hmm. So we're excited that we're going to put all of this at one time. It might seem like a lot, but once the effort of it moving forward, I think it's going to be great.
All right, guys. Well, it's off to a great start. Congratulations, and thank you for what you're doing for the community. Let us know how we can be of any help. We're always willing to chip in.
Oh, thank you.
All right, thanks, guys. And stay tuned because we will be right back with more Fiesta Friday when we continue right after this.